Welcome to the White Devils podcast. I'm your host, Rob Villain. I'm doing the show live remotely from Miami today. And as always, I have my two co-hosts with me. First, we'll bring in Rich. How's it going tonight?
Hey, the audio's coming out real rough. It's real cut up on your side.
Yeah, I think it may be the internet. We'll see how it's going. How's it sound now?
It's better now. Now you're cool.
Okay. And it wouldn't be the White Devils podcast if we didn't have the third amigo. What up, Eddie?
What's up?
We missed you last week.
The last 2 weeks.
Last couple of weeks, man.
Last week you were just like gone.
Oh, I was asleep.
Eddie was like, "Fuck America." I'm going to say
He said I was asleep.
No, I crashed. I had
the last show you were on. You were talking about that Europe was broken and you had to fix it. The next thing we didn't hear from you for 2 weeks.
Oh yeah. That was. No, I just had I had to move my schedule around for work, and then I think the other Tuesday, like I said, I was trying to get some stuff situated, and it fell through anyway. So I'm back, and I am angrier than ever. So
you're back and angrier than ever. Well,
strap in.
I just flew in, and boy, am I salty.
Boy, am I tired.
We're gonna get to the shit. We're gonna be breaking down a lot of things. We're gonna be breaking down Trump's lawsuits. He's like 0-51 now. Is that right, Eddie? 0-51.
1-51, I believe.
Yeah, he's got 1 or 2 victories, but they weren't significant.
He had won a court case in Pennsylvania to.
LeBron James has a better finals record than Donald Trump has the fucking courtroom record. But we'll be getting into that.
Here's a good one I heard today. Donald Trump's lawyers have more positive COVID tests than won cases.
Yes, there's exactly.
yeah, I actually read that too.
Well, and the funny thing, the thing about that is Jenna Ellis, who is this lawyer who's not quarantined, was at the Christmas party last weekend at the White House. And I guarantee you they weren't wearing masks or social distancing. So
why would they do anything that they tell us we should be doing?
Okay, I hear you guys want to jump straight into it. I mean, Rudy Giuliani has coronavirus. Big surprise. And
I don't got my sound effects. I feel really weird.
Yeah. The thing about
the audio is tweaking out again, like real bad. And now when I talk, it like ends now. I think you're straight. Yeah, now it's cool. That's crazy.
Yeah, it just might be something you're hearing. If anybody notice, any of our viewers notice any of the audio problems or anything,
damn it.
Just go ahead.
No shit.
Just
it's
go
like
ahead and
stopping on me. Is it me?
I think it's you because I hear Rob pretty fast.
Yeah,
I hear a little bit of static, but it sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right.
If there's any audio problems that any of our viewers are experiencing, just go ahead and leave it in the comments. I'll try to fix it. But Jizzy Drew says he got it from a 16-year-old girl, right?
So let's talk about Rudy Giuliani's month. I mean, for the last 2 months, he gets blown up on Borat. He throws a press conference in the Four Seasons Landscaping. Throws another press conference where he's literally dripping.
His hair dye is running down his face.
He's got the Carlos Boozer going on, and now he's got coronavirus and he's in the hospital. I mean, talk about if that's what winning looks like. I don't want to win.
And he's no spring chicken. Corona kicked. He's in that demographic that coronavirus could snatch the soul out of him.
You know what though? I saw he just got released from the hospital. Just like
that's fucked up. Ago. Jeremiah sits in the hospital on a ventilator and fucking trickle dye. Fucking Giuliani gets discharged rather quickly.
It's fine.
He gets the hookup.
He's getting the same medicines that Trump is getting.
He gets that cocktail.
That's fine. I wish him all the best because I want him indicted. So. We'll take it.
So we're also going to get into some of Biden's cabinet picks. We're going to get into some things about the Texas Attorney General.
Oh, yeah, are we?
We're going to run down the data scientist that got her shit ran up into. I read the article, and it's pretty straightforward. It was the Washington Post article that I read, so we'll get into that a little bit later. And there's a couple little tidbits that we'll hit on during this episode of White Devils. All falls down. Trump's world is crumbling down around him faster than the fucking Twin Towers dropped.
Yeah.
And he's really, really well. He's a lot of his close aides have the impression that he won't come back from Mar-a-Lago when he goes for the holidays.
That's right. And Ivanka and Jared just bought a very expensive mansion in Florida. The thing
Of course they did.
They can't go back to New York. They can't go back to the same social circle that they were in before they left because they're all liberals.
No. That's beside the point. The way Florida law is written, if you have a residence, and regardless of how expensive it is, if you have a residence and it's your primary residence, it can't be taken from you as a result of court proceedings. So if you buy an $80 million mansion and you get arrested for fraud or tax issues, the federal government can come and take can try and take your condo or your house or whatever, but the state can't.
Okay.
And New York State was probably definitely gonna if they got indicted.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So it's there's a reason why people buy up empty condos in Florida and just sit on them and park them because they can't get taken from them. Not surprising that they did that, and it has nothing to do with their social circle. I mean, I think they burned it all a long time ago. But also, these people are sickos. These people in DC, like people like Kellyanne Conway and what's her name, that woman that was the press secretary for a little bit, for a long time.
Huckabee?
Huckabee Sanders. Those people are not going to be shunned in the way that they should be for the most part.
Damn, Rich just left.
Well, he's out of here. Joe wants to know when Kamala will resign her Senate seat. So it's an interesting question. Rob, do you?
I technically don't think she has to till about 2 weeks before the inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
I think she's able to stay on and handle her duties until she has to basically report as the vice president.
Yeah. So you understand the politics of California better than I do. My understanding is that the Governor Newsom is basically reshaping the future of California politics with the number of people from California that are going to be considered for the Biden administration, including Kamala Harris, I believe his secretary or his chief of staff, as well as a bunch of the hangers-on of Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles. So there is I believe that it's actually, she's not resigning at this moment because they're sitting back and trying to make a decision from a national and a state level of how they're going to approach the restructuring of power in California.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, she's a senator until she's a vice president, so I would say the easy answer is January 20th.
Yeah, that's basically the right thing to think.
So for example, Xavier Becerra, who's the Attorney General of California, of all of California, which was Senator Harris's president-elect or vice president-elect Harris, her former job. He is being considered for Health and Human Services, for example. So
yeah, I believe he was already been tapped.
Yeah. So without getting too much into that stuff right now, like California Attorney General is a pretty powerful position. So they're not just gonna, if whether or not Harris resigns now, they're being careful because of, considerations like this.
Okay.
Doozy says this fucking thing's golden. I'm not gonna give it up for nothing. Right. The that's part of the power of California. Now, what's interesting about California politics right now is how much Garcetti, the mayor of Los Angeles, is being tapped for, influence in the Biden campaign. They're talking to him. They use him as a surrogate in the campaign. They're taking a lot of his recommendations. The big problem with Garcetti right now is that one of his chief of staff, one of his senior aides, is a huge piece of shit and has been sexually assaulting and bullying people and being a huge asshole, running an abusive office for years. And as a result of this, people are going to pushing strongly against him because of they don't believe that he belongs to shit. That's spamming the wrong people.
Wrong chat.
Always. They don't believe that he's got the moral authority or the moral ability to have the moral high ground to be legislating who should or shouldn't be in the Biden campaign or in the Biden administration. And same thing with it's the same fight in Chicago with over Rahm Emanuel as transportation secretary. But specifically Garcetti, the journalist Yashar Ali, who's super tight and really smart and a great journalist. He's the one who broke the news about Garcetti, and specifically accusing his aide, I should say, specifically accusing Rick Jacobs of sexually harassing him personally. So it's a big mess in LA, as well as if you've seen the protests in front of his house, where you have literally like 20 police officers protecting him just because he's afraid of his constituents. He's still to this day is the co-chair of the Biden inauguration.
Oh shit.
So it's kind of ridiculous, and it's what we've been talking about a little bit, that the Biden is not going to save us. I just posted that to you, Rob. But there's a lot going on in California politics. To sum it up, yeah. You can say that about any big state, but those two in particular, I think, are some of the reasons why they're being very careful with this Senate. Not that Harris would lose her, not that there's danger of losing the seat to a Republican, but very carefully moving those waters.
Yeah. So you want to start running through some of these things?
Let's start off with the Supreme Court basically telling Trump to fuck off.
Yeah, let me read this because it's not a long read.
Yeah, and I know you really are happy about that.
Well, I can't say I'm surprised, but finally one of Trump's cases got to the Supreme Court from Pennsylvania, and here was how the Supreme Court responded. The application for injunctive relief presented to Justice Samuel Alito and by him referred to the court is denied.
Period.
No dissents. No dissents.
Yeah.
Out of the 9.
And not only were there no dissents, they didn't hear arguments, didn't hear nothing. They got the application and just summarily dismissed it because it's garbage.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing to do with it. So
the fact that they dismissed it and there were no dissents, it's not just that they dismissed it and there were no dissents. It's how and why that there were no dissents. It's a garbage lawsuit. And so the idea that you would even go to the court to overturn an election, it's not just these votes didn't get counted properly in Florida, where there were legitimate arguments to be made about the formatting of the ballots, whether or not the vote was quote unquote legally cast because it wasn't punched through. All of these things that could be argued. They lost. The election's over. It's been certified. They lost straight up, and now they want it to be overturned. And that's different than just being upset about it. So it's just it's the very height of anti-democratic position to say we need the court to help us out.
Yeah, and while that is very true, the right fights on, and that brings us to point number 2, which is Texas.
I was hoping you were going into Texas, and I'm glad you did.
Bring that ass here, boy. So this guy Ken Paxton filed a lawsuit with the Supreme Court, and from Texas, he is alleging that 4 battleground states did their voting improperly. I don't know why the Texas AG would know that, because he has nothing to do with any of those states other than Texas. But this is what he did, and I have a theory why. But before I get to my theory, let's get some background information on good old Ken Paxton. He's been
tell us, Rich. Let us know what's going on.
He's been under federal securities fraud indictment since his first year in office.
Oh.
He's currently embroiled in a bribery scam.
Okay.
All his top lieutenants, who are career Republicans, reported him, and then he fired them, and then they filed a whistleblower suit against him.
Mm-hmm.
One of the allegations that stood out to my source was that he got a wealthy donor friend to employ his mistress, and in exchange, he hired wealthy donors' unqualified buddy as special counsel to help donors' business at the expense of his competitors.
Yep.
That sounds about how it goes.
This dude is already under indictment with more on the way. Oh, and she said, I've heard he's one of those that as a woman you avoid being alone with.
Ooh. That sounds about Republicans.
And my source is a lawyer in Texas, in Houston. So Ken Paxton is the scumbag, definitely the scumbagiest AG around. My theory is that he's fishing for a pardon from Trump. Because I'm going to tell you this right now. Side note, Ted Cruz said he would argue this at the Supreme Court. So fuck Ted Cruz in the face. Also, but Ken Paxton, bro, what a fucking bag of shit.
Massive piece of shit.
What a fucking bag of shit.
And the interesting thing about this Texas AG thing as well is this is the party of small government. This is the party of states' rights.
Yeah.
Why are you involved? Why are you involved? Why are you? Where's the moral consistency? Look,
bro, where is it?
I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that the Republican Party has never actually presented themselves as anything more than having a veneer of moral consistency or of having any political position other than we want power, right? They've always, we're doing this because Social Security needs to be funded properly. Like, no, you just want to cut Social Security so that you can get kickbacks from your corporate lobbyists that are funding your campaigns. Like, this has never been about anything but power for them. Look at the way Mitch McConnell acted in 2010. Look at the way Paul Ryan acted. Mitch
McConnell still hasn't called to congratulate Joe Biden.
Yeah, he's never going to.
Some people think that means it's going to be just like Obama's term.
Exactly, it will. And so I think
where he's just going to do business with the vice president.
No, he's not going to do business
because that's exactly what he did when Obama was president. He all his dealings were with Biden, who was vice president.
He didn't have a lot of dealings though. He was obstructionist. He began this culture of obstructionism that is like the modus operandi for the fucking Congress these days. He started that when we got a black president.
Yep.
Yes.
He said his goal was to make Barack Obama a one-term president. This is what he said publicly.
Mm-hmm.
And all kinds of bills.
How did that go for him?
I mean, he's still the Senate Majority Leader. Hopefully that changes.
It actually went really well for Mitch McConnell. He's put on three Supreme Court justices.
He's like the most powerful dude in the Congress.
He is.
Definitely in Congress.
Yeah, he is.
He might be more powerful than the president in some cases.
He's made millions of dollars since then. His wife, Elaine Chao, who's transportation secretary, has been chasing all these deals with China and stuff, making hundreds of millions of dollars on the side. They're good. They're Gucci. Mission accomplished.
His son is the Texas AG that's fucking over the Breonna Taylor case. His son-in-law.
By Kentucky AG.
Yes.
Yeah.
Kentucky AG.
Yeah, the Kentucky AG. And what else was I going to say? Oh, and Mitch gets more federal dollars per citizen than any other state in the country. How about that? Yeah, that's why they keep fucking with him. He keeps bringing it home for him.
A bunch of welfare queens is what they are.
Exactly. And then he comes out and wants to cut this and do that. And
it's interesting. It's interesting though that like Giuliani and Trump and these top Republicans, I mean, maybe to a lesser extent, Herman Cain, but these people get all of the benefits of, government policy, great government health care. They get all the benefits of having a strong social safety net. They lose their job. They can immediately get $100,000 job working at some other, at some think tank or something like that. Like
get paid to do speeches.
When we say social safety net, I mean in a little bit different context. We usually mean it in a different context, but like they can step away from politics and be good forever, and they can keep their health care. And meanwhile they're cutting our health care. The Trump administration literally turned down Pfizer's offer to buy more coronavirus vaccines, and they only bought like 50 million. Why would they turn it down? This is the easiest thing to do. The easiest thing to do for Trump be like, well, we finally got the vaccine. I'm going to order 100 million doses or 3 million doses or I'm going to order, we have 350 million Americans. I'm going to order 500 million doses. Like, I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to order 1 billion doses. Like, so easy to do. Be strong, decisive leader. The people are dying, so let me get millions and millions of vaccines. And he's like, nah, we're good. Why would they do that?
Well, no.
Why would they do that to us when they can go to a hospital, get all the nicest medicine, here's the kicker. And they're straight? Like, it's a complete misbalance.
Well, it was in July too, and it wasn't like it was yesterday. Like Joe just said, it was in July.
Well, there's a couple additional things about that. That is true. They did that. But when they did Warp Speed, they did it with several companies. So what they did was they committed to X amount from all the companies. They didn't wait to buy out from the first one that did it, which I don't know why they did it that way. But on the back end of that, you seen Trump sign an executive order yesterday that says all Americans should get fucking vaccinations before any foreign nationals. But you can't just do that. Like, these are private companies. You already passed on doing business with them. You let them make arrangements with other countries. You can't come back and be like, nah, you can't sell to them until you sell to all of us. Bro, you work for them, Trump. Like, that was the dumbest thing. I don't know who believed that was worth a fuck that he did yesterday, but it was fucking pointless. They made a big to-do about it, fucking big public appearance. He signed this thing, and it didn't mean shit to anybody. None of the companies on Warp Speed were even there.
Yep. And they want to call it the Trump vaccine. Like, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like, he was not involved in Operation Warp Speed. Now, don't get me wrong. The only caveat that I would add in there is that I don't want the Pfizer vaccine. I want the Moderna Oxford vaccine, only because there are real challenges with the Pfizer vaccine specifically. It needs to be shipped at very low temperatures and stuff like that. The Moderna
vaccine, negative 6 degrees or something, negative 94 degrees or
something. From a logistics standpoint, I think the Oxford vaccine coming from Moderna is the better one, in my opinion. But then that's the only reason why I would kind of agree that not buying that many doses from Pfizer is smart, but that's not why they did it.
Yeah, he probably was trying to finesse them for a better deal and they went elsewhere or something to that effect.
No, he didn't get his kickbacks. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Speaking of kickbacks, let's talk about it.
Go ahead. Nice segue.
For cash. pardons for cash. You know what's interesting is that
That sounds
they
like
asked,
a late night commercial, don't it? Pardons for cash.
yeah, they. You know what's interesting about this? Bill Barr actually testified in his confirmation hearing that presidents accepting cash for pardons would be unconstitutional, breach of conduct, illegal, and impeachable. Can't accept, and that's exactly what they're doing now. So it's interesting that they are investigating advisors around the president. See, it's interesting if you read the documentation of what it means or what they said that the pardon investigation. So, a federal judge unsealed a memo where essentially they were talking about quote unquote privileged communications, right? Like when if you saw in the Michael Cohen case when you get raided by the by authorities, your communications with you and your lawyer are privileged. So a third party like another lawyer or a news organization or anyone else is not obligated to see that stuff. So what usually happens in these cases where there's potentially privileged information that needs to be sorted through is a judge will create will order the creation of what's called a filter team, which is a team of people who are also lawyers who are looking at this information and basically determining what is and what is not privileged and what can and cannot be released publicly. So in her memo, the judge said that there were conducting investigations of unrelated conduct and came across this information of third parties basically receiving pardons in exchange for past donations in 2016, but also with the understanding that they would get future donations as well, using third-party cutouts to sort of disguise or mule the bribes over to the White House. And so the interesting question about it is, looks like we got some feedback. The interesting question about it is,